It's been a while since my last Flutter video, but I wanted to do a video that's geared more towards beginners with Flutter. So in a previous video that I did maybe around 9 or 10 months ago, I talked about navigation in your Flutter apps, like moving from page to page. In this video, I want to talk about using drawer navigation and the tab navigation. So I'm going to show you how to create drawers in your app and show you how to create bottom tabs and top tabs in your app. Here we have some code from my master branch, but I've added a few different screens here that were not there before. So I've added the home screen, setting screens, and video screen. So in the home screen, we have all this code here with the coding with curly text and the paragraph here. So we have our container, centered, column. So everything is centered correctly. And we have our floating action button. So for the floating action button, I'm actually going to get rid of this. That's not important for the video. For our settings and videos, it's a very simple stateful widget for these two. So we have a scaffold Appbar with the title and a centered text. And for the videos, same thing. Okay. And for the main, we have our material app with our theme data and a home screen here, which is our home widget. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to create our routes for our screens. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say routes. This is a way to create routes in your app. So routes, it's an object here. And then I want to define some routes here. So I want to say home route will be context. And then I want to say home. Okay, so that's our home widget being imported. And then I want to say videos. And then I want to say context, videos. So this is our video widget, aka our video screen, videos. And let's actually make sure that's imported correctly. Okay, and I want to have our settings here. Okay, and that's context, settings. Okay, so that's our three screens that we'll have in our app. So these are the three main screens. This does not include the drawer or tabs yet. So the first thing I want to work on is the drawer. So I'm going to go to our lib folder and say new file. And I'm going to create a file called side drawer. Okay, so I'm going to put all of our drawer code in a separate file. And now I'm going to create a stateless widget. So I'm going to have a stateless widget. And I'm going to say side drawer. And I'm going to import our material package here. So keep in mind, this is our drawer code. So a drawer is normally a list of text, right? So I'm going to have a list view here. So actually before that, we want to define our drawer. So first you have a drawer widget like so, and then the child of that drawer widget will be your list view. So list view. And inside of your list view, you have children that represent your widgets that you want to show. Okay, so this is the basic skeleton of your list or of your drawer here. You have a container, drawer, and list view. In our children, I want to have some tiles here. So I want to say list tile. And for this list tile, I just want to have a text widget that says home. So I'm going to say title. And then a title has to take in a widget. So it has to be a text widget. And then the text widget will just say home. Okay. And then we have to define what happens when you tap on the tile. So when you tap on the tile, we want to say on tap here, on tap. And then I want to navigate to a different screen. But what I really want to do is I want to replace the current screen, and then I want to navigate to a different screen. So I want to use a navigator widget, navigator built into Flutter, dot. And for this one, I want to say push replacement. So context, and then the route name. And actually, this should be push replacement named because we have named routes. So push replacement named. Okay, and then for this one, I want to define it as home. So that's what we have in our routes in our main.dart file. Okay, put this on a different line here. And let's save. Let's restart our app. So you cannot see the drawer yet because we have not defined it in our home screen yet. So let's go to home. So inside of your scaffold, besides Appbar and body, you also have access to a drawer parameter. So you have a drawer, and then for drawer, you can define your side drawer here. like so. So let's save and reload. And now you can see we have our side drawer icon here by default. So if we push this, we can see our home tile here. So if we press this, it says home, so we get an error here. Let's look at the error. Probably forgot one step. Oh yeah, let's go to our main.dart. And I need to replace this line with initial route. So if you're defining routes this way, you need to tell Flutter what route to go to initially. So let's say initial route home, okay? And this name route has to be the same as this route that you have defined down here. So let's save and let's reload. Okay, yeah, because we expect to pass in a title to our home screen. So let's go back to our home widget, and I'm gonna get rid of this for now. So let's get rid of the title here. And for the title, I'm just gonna put home right here. So let's put coding with curry. Coding with curry. Okay, save and reload. Okay, that looks better. So let's go here. Let's press the home screen or the home tile. And it just replaces the current home screen with a new home screen. Okay, that's all we have for now. Let's go to our side drawer and let's create a couple more tiles. So I'm going to copy and paste this 2 more times. Okay, and for the second list tile, I'm gonna have a video tile. So let's do videos, and we're gonna go to the video route. And instead of push replacement named, I'm just gonna have push named. So push named. Same thing for the third tile. And for the third tile, I'm gonna have settings. So let's do settings and settings route here. Okay. Make sure that these values match what you have in your main.dart. You can create constants if you want to, or just import them into the different files to make it simpler to manage, but that's up to you. Okay, and before I run this, I see I spelled this wrong, so let's do videos here. Okay, and restart. Let's go up here to our drawer. Let's press videos. And now you see we have our video screen here. Let's go back. Now you see we have our settings screen here. Okay. So let's add some icons to our drawer here to make it look a little bit more like an actual drawer that you might have in your app. In every list tile, you also have the leading field here. So leading is what goes before your title in your list tile. So in our leading, I want a different widget. I want a icon widget, which takes in a icons class. So the icons, for this one, I just want to put home. Okay, I'm just going to use the default material icons. So this is normally how you would actually put an icon in your app. You have the icon widget and define the icons that you want from this class here. Okay, and now I'm going to copy and paste this down into our other list tiles and up here too. And I put the home in the wrong spot. This one should be home, and this one should be, I think for this one, there's a few different videos that we can use here. Let's do, I think one that I used before is personal video. And then for settings, we have a settings icon already in the material package. Okay, let's save and let's reload. And now you can see we have 3 icons here. So that looks a little bit better. And in many apps, for Android especially, you would see a section up here that has like a rectangle with your email and your user information up here, and maybe a profile picture. So let's add that to our drawer. So if you go up here to our drawer, or actually go up here to the children, and you can define a new widget. So there's a widget. If you search for accounts, there's something called user accounts drawer header, which is the perfect name for this widget. So user accounts drawer header. This takes in a few different things. So first, we're going to have email. So for the email, it's going to be a text widget. And for the text widget, I'm going to put in something just random. I'm just going to put in like test@gmail.com. .com. And let's put this on a different line here. Okay, and there's a few other fields here too. There's also account name. So I'm just gonna put my name here. So text and Julian Curry. And we're also gonna put a picture here. So there's account picture, so current account picture. And then I want to have a avatar here. So Flutter has a few cool avatar widgets already built into it. So I'm going to use a circle avatar. So for circle avatar, you would normally pass in a couple of different things. The main one being background image. So it's the background image of the circle. So let's do background image. And then I want to get this from a URL. So I'm going to get an image from the internet real quick. Okay, so I found a URL to use for this video. So for this, it takes in an image provider. And for now, we're just going to use a network image. I might talk about the image provider class in a different video, but for now, let's just use network image, pass in the URL here. So let's do this URL and make sure this is all okay. Save, and let's reload. Let's look at our user account drawer header here. Okay, so you can see I have my Pikachu here and we have our drawer header here. But this doesn't look quite right. So to get rid of this part on iOS, it's pretty easy. On Android, this will be actually below the status bar, and you don't want that either. You want some margin so it's beneath the status bar. And outside of our drawer, I want to put a new widget called save area, okay? You just define a child here. So the child will be the drawer. And we just wrap our drawer in that safe area. Put that here. Okay, let's save and let's reload. And that looks a lot better now. Okay, and the behavior is slightly different on Android, as I said, but you'll see that it looks a lot better on Android too. So we have our little header now for our drawer. And that's kind of all I wanted to do with the drawer for now. Pretty simple stuff. There's more that you can do with it. But for now, let's go work on the tabs for the app. So I'm actually going to get rid of all this boilerplate text here. And let's go to our home.dart. And for the body, I'm going to get rid of the column part. Let's do column. Okay. Actually, let's get rid of all this. So let's get rid of everything except for this. Let's do child, and let's do text and tab. Let's do bottom tabs. Save. Okay, and we need to make this centered. So let's do center, child. Actually, let's do top tabs first. So let's do top tabs. So top tabs for text. And the good thing about the top tabs, I'm doing that one because that's easier than the bottom tabs. So for the top tabs, that's actually built into the Appbar by default. So let's put comma here, and under title, I'm gonna say bottom. So there's a bottom widget that you can define here. So it has to be a preferred size widget. So bottom. And then for the bottom, I'm going to have a tab bar. So tab bar is a widget that's built into Flutter that gives you access to different tabs. So we say tab bar, and then we just define our tabs. So let's make sure I spell this right. Tab bar. Okay. And then you have to define your tabs. So tabs, it takes in an array of widgets. So your tabs can literally be any widget that you want it to be, but normally you would want tabs to make it look clean. There's a tab widget built into Flutter. So let's say tab. And for the tab, you have a few different options here. We're just going to have a text and an icon. So let's have text. And for the first one, I'm just going to have something like welcome, I guess. Just random things here. So keep in mind, this is not a widget, so you don't need the text widget here. Okay, and then I also want an icon. So let's do icon. And for the icon, this one has to be a widget. So you have to do icon, icons, dot, and then I'm just gonna have like home here. Okay, save. And let's reload this. And we get an error, no tab controller. Okay, so that's because we need a tab controller for our tabs. So the tab controller is what tells Flutter that this group of widgets is a tab. So the default tab controller is a controller for your tabs that tells Flutter more information about the tabs that you have. The main thing being the length of the tabs that you want to show on the screen. So up here, above scaffold, I'm going to put a default tab controller. Default tab controller. And the child of that is going to be the scaffold. Okay. Okay, so we get a warning here. That's because we need something else here. It says the initial index argument must not be null. So you have to define a length for your tabs. So let's do length. And for this one, I want it to be 3. So let's see what happens if we save this with 3 and only one tab defined. So let's save and reload. And you see we have controller's length property 3 does not exist. So let's actually finish defining our tabs here. So let's do comma, and I'm going to put 2 more tabs here. I'm going to say just info and maybe, I don't know, about. And let's put some random icons here. I'm going to do icons dot settings and icons dot, let's do some food or something. If there's any food here, fast food. Okay, save, reload. Okay, now you see we have our tabs defined. So the tabs are part of your Appbar. But as you can see here, we have nothing changing when we switch tabs because we haven't defined the views for our tabs. So let's actually define what we want to show when we click on different tabs. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to our files over here. I want to create a new folder. This folder is going to be named tabs. And I'm going to create a subfolder for that. I'm going to say top. Yeah, just top actually is good. Okay, so we have our top tabs here, and let's create our bottom tab folder too while we're here. So let's do new folder and let's do bottom. Should be here. Okay. So for the bottom tabs, I want to create 3 different views now. So I'm going to say new file. And for the bottom, I want to say, we have welcome here. So I'm going to say welcome .dart. And I'm going to say new file. And let's do info.dart. And then we have about. So let's do new file dot about.dart. Okay, that defines our bottom tabs. So let's create some very simple stateless widgets here. So for our welcome, let's do stateless widget and let's do welcome here. Import our material. And for this, I'm just going to have a text. Let's actually center this too. So let's do center child text, and we will do, I'm just going to say tab 1. Tab 1. Okay, start to make these fonts a little bit bigger so you can read what's on the screen here. So I'm going to say style, text style. Let's do font size. Let's do 24. Okay, I'm going to copy this entire class here and put it into our info. And then we'll do info, copy, paste, and let's do tab 2, save, copy everything, put into our about. Let's do about, copy, paste, and do tab 3 here. And that's our 3 tabs defined. So let's go back to our home screen. And let's go down here to the bottom of the screen. And now let's define our tab view. So instead of a container with top tabs here, I want to replace this container. I want to show a tab bar view widget here. So tab bar view. So these define the views that you want to show for your different tabs. So you need to have 3 tab bar views here, or 3 widgets inside of your tab bar view, because we have 3 different tabs defined. So let's do children. And for the tab bar children here, put in our welcome tab, info tab, and our about, and save. Okay. We can do this here. Let's go back up here. I think this looks okay. So Flutter is smart enough to put these different tab views inside of your tabs, assuming that your length is defined correctly. So let's save and reload. So we have tab 1 here for our welcome screen, tab 2 for info, and tab 3 for about. So that's how you put different views for each of your tabs. It looks very simple, but it takes a little bit of getting used to defining your tabs in this manner. Okay, so one more time, we have our drawer defined in our home screen with our drawer parameter here and side drawer. We have a body that is our tab bar views defined by our 3 tabs. And then we define the text that we want for our tabs up here at the top. And we have our icons defined for our tabs. And keep in mind, this is all on the home tab. So our video tab and our settings tabs have not been touched yet. Okay, so on our video tab, I want to put some bottom tabs now. So bottom tabs are a little bit trickier than the top tabs. Let's go to our top tab folder, and I'm going to create new file. And I'm just going to say, I'm getting lazy with the names, so I'm just going to say tab1.dart, tab2.dart, and tab3.dart. And I hope that doesn't get confused with the names that I'm showing in these tabs on the home screen here, like these tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste something from this screen. So let's copy into our tab 1 here, and let's do tab 1, copy, paste here. I'm just going to keep this the same. I hope it doesn't get confusing, but I'm getting lazy. So, and then let's copy this to here and do tab 2 and do tab 2 here. Copy paste to tab 3. This will be tab 3. And we could put that down here for tab 3. Okay. We have our top tabs defined now. So let's go to the video screen here. So the bottom tab is a little bit trickier than the top tabs. I will show you why. So our app bar does not have anything for tabs at the very bottom of the screen, but we do have access to something in our scaffold. So we have something called bottom navigation bar. So that's another way of saying bottom tab bar. And for our bottom tab bar, there's a widget called bottom navigation bar. Okay. And for the bottom navigation bar, instead of children, they have something called items here, which is an array. So this is how we define our 3 items at the bottom navigation bar here. So Flutter also has a widget called bottom navigation bar item. So we could say new bottom navigation bar item. So we can define an icon for it. So I want to say icons dot, and for this one, I want to say home. Let's put this here on a different line. And we also have the title prop, or not prop, but the title parameter here. And for the title, I want to say text, and I want to say home here. Okay. I've used the word home way too many times in this video, so I'm just going to have a different name here. Let's do camera, and then we can say camera here. So camera, and put this on a different line. Okay. And I want to copy and paste this 2 more times. So let's copy, paste, paste. And let's do something else here. Map, and something you might want here, mail, and mail. Okay, so let's save this and see what we have so far. So let's run. Let's go to videos. And you see we have our camera, map, and mail bottom navigation bar here. So as you can see, if we tap on these, nothing happens. They don't even get selected. So that's one of the differences between the bottom navigation bar and the top tabs in your app bar. You actually have to change the state of the index yourself. So in the bottom navigation bar, there's also a field called current index. So current index defines the current index that you are in for your tab. So this is 0, 1, and 2. So how do we actually set this index here? So we need to create some state. So that's why I made this one a stateful widget. So in our state here, I'm going to define a new integer. I'm going to say int underscore index, and I'm going to set it equal to 0 by default. Okay, and I'm going to put that value into the current index here. So save, reload. Nothing should really change. Let's go to videos. Everything is still the same. So in our bottom navigation bar, in order to change the tab, you also have to define the onTap method here. So we have onTap, and this takes in the value that represents the index. So we can say index, and I want to set the state for our index. So let's do set state, and this will be a function we have inside here. And I want to say index equals index. So we're setting the local state of the index based on the tab that we tap on. So it's not really too difficult, but it's just something that's very different from using the tabs in the app bar. So let's save and reload. And now if you click on these, you can see that the other one is highlighted. It's a little bit hard to see with the dark color, but it's working correctly. So the last thing I want to do is I want to define the views that we show. When we click on camera, map, and mail, it should show these 3 different tabs here. So tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. So similar to what we did in our home screen where we have the body actually defining the tab views, we can do something similar in our video screen here. But the difference is that we have to create our own widget list up here. So I want to create a final list of widgets. So I want to say final list, and these will just be widgets. You can define these as whatever widgets you want to show in your screen. So I want to say underscore tabs as the name. And then I want to say equals. So this will be an array. And I want to import our different tabs. So tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. So tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. Okay? So now in order to use our tabs, we can actually define this list here in our body. So get rid of the center here and just put in your underscore tabs. And since the body has to be a single widget, you cannot have a list of widgets here. So you need to actually define your tab that you want to show. And you would just pass in the current value of the underscore index. So you would have brackets and then index. Okay? So as we switch different tabs, this will be 0, 1, 2. So when we press 1, the onTap sets the index value to 1. And then we pass in that 1 to the body, and that switches the view from tab 1 to tab 2. Okay, so let's save and reload. So we have tab 1 for our first one. Let's go to tab 2 and tab 3. So that is our different screens here, or our different tabs here, I mean. So we have tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. And you can put whatever view you want into here. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense. I'm gonna go over this one more time. So in our home screen, we define some top tabs that are inside of our app bar. So these tabs are a part of your app bar. That comes in handy later when you want to do things like hide your app bar or expand your app bar, etc. But for now, we just have our standard tabs here. Okay, so we have our bottom. And yeah, this is confusing because it's saying the bottom widget of your app bar. So you can define different widgets down here as long as they are a preferred size widget. Okay, so we have welcome tab, info tab, about tab here. And then you define your tab views inside of your body. And then for the bottom tabs, you have to actually create a bottom tab navigator or a bottom navigation bar, and you define the index based on the onTap method. And you also have your bottom navigation bar item widgets that take in a icon and title, among other things. If you want to see what else is in here, you can go to definition and look at what else is in here. You have active icon, title, background color, etc. Okay. So yeah, I know that was a lot to go through, but these are very helpful in your app. If you want to create some interesting UIs, this is your first step to actually doing that. So yeah, I hope that all makes sense. Tabs and side drawers in Flutter is pretty easy. They tried to make it as simple as possible, and I think they succeeded. If you've done any React Native, doing these is a little bit more of a pain in React Native. In Flutter, there's a lot of things that are built into the framework for you by default. I really appreciate them having a user header here. I can put some other icons in here too. So I can say icons.home or icons.home, save, reload. And now we have a little house here too. So you can put more in here if you want to. icons.AC unit. And it'll put more here. So that's helpful if you have multiple accounts. But I'll go into actually hooking up accounts to your Flutter app in a separate video. I wanted to focus more on the UI for this video. I hope this helps you out for your Flutter apps. Stay tuned for the next Flutter video, and happy coding. Bye.